Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. If this is your first time mixing it up mayhem style, hello again, and thank you for stopping by. I think that you're going to like what you hear. That is, if you don't mind me and my sometimes reckless mouth. Because you see, over here at Melanin Mayhem, I'm going to bring you the stories of some of the most heinous, diabolical, and downright audacious crimes committed by some melanated baddies that you probably never heard about. And if you have, you haven't heard the story the way I tell it. Because you see, my mission in life is to dispel this myth in our community that there are certain types of crimes that black people don't commit, because that is cap all day long, honey. We have been doing serial shenanigans around here, and we've been getting away with it because ain't nobody checking for it because of that goddamn myth. Now, we have welcomed our visitors warmly. My main squeezes. The frick to my frack, the black-eyed peas with my rice, the fabulous members of the New One Nation. How y'all doing, cousins? How your mama and them? I know one thing. It's hot as the hinges of hell in Atlanta. Oh, my Lord Jesus, y'all, I'm about to pass out. Are y'all okay? Are we gonna make it? This is not the same heat we grew up with. We were not outside playing in this shit here. I don't know what this is, honey. This that new style heat. You got to be careful what you ask for, because it had been raining like nonstop every day for like the past 30 days until like the end of last week. And we were like, oh, so tired of the rain. Oh, so tired of the rain. Baby, what I would give right now for a little piece of rain to just fall on me. I'm feeling myself a little bit, y'all. Y'all might get all kind of singing and dancing because I got an episode for you today, baby. Now, I also hope that you all have had a chance by now to copy some of that good new. I'm talking about that Melanin Mayhem merch, baby. Yes. I dropped the link for the discussion group first. And let me tell you, they did not come to play. New One Nation, y'all be showing out, and I love you for it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, head on over to www.melaninmayhempodcast to get you some of that good. You know what I'm saying. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm still trying to hold on to some of my Juneteenth glow, and because freedom is lit, and we need as much joy as possible right now, y'all. Especially now that it looked like we headed to World War III. Oh, Jesus, say that so. I felt like we needed a bit of a palate cleanser, because the murder, kill clearly ain't going nowhere anytime soon. So we needed a breather. I just felt like, this week we dropping bombs and trying to figure out what the fuck is fixing to go on. We got time. I got plenty of mayhem makers that do all kind of mayhem out here in these streets. So today, I'm going to bring you the tale of a lovable mayhem maker that we can all feel good about. It's very rare. I think this might be the first. But you know what? First of many, because again, I got all kind of stories for y'all, right? You know I always say that pussy sell when cotton and corn don't. And baby, our mayhem maker this week capitalized off of that for more than 60 years till a hater did some hater shit and disconnected our mayhem maker from this world. Baby, this week we are headed to Natchez, Mississippi, and I'm going to throw a shout out early to Dr._B Savage, who sent me this suggestion in. Thank you, Dr. B Savage. So appreciate it. And your profile pic is lit. Okay, honey. We got some fine members of the New One Nation. I was just playing. Anyway, we are headed to Natchez, Mississippi. And baby, the woman I am going to tell you about today, she did it her way. And honey, her milkshakes brought all the boys to the barn. So I ain't gonna even hold you. Bringing to the front of the congregation, this week's Melanin Mayhem maker is Miss Nellie Jackson, a.k.a. the Natchez Madam. All right, y'all, let's get on into it. Now, Miss Nellie Jackson was born August 3rd, 1902 in Possum Corner, Mississippi. She was a twin. Her twin sister was named Frances, and her parents, or rather their parents, were named Jim and Inez Jackson. And yeah, you know, you in the dirty South when you in a place like Possum Corner. Ooh, honey. And as you can possibly imagine, Possum Corner is a little bitty dot on the map. One of those blink and you'll miss it kind of places. Well, that's where Miss Nellie Jackson came into the world. And honey, you know we have next to zero background on Miss Nellie. In the line with the times, though, we know Miss Nellie went to school until around the 5th grade. And then at the tender age of 15, which was around 1918, we also know that Miss Ma'am jumped the broom with a 22-year-old man named Wiley Barnes. All right, honey, Nellie and Wiley stayed in Possum Corner until around 1923 when they moved to Natchez, Mississippi. But you know, word on the curb is that Nellie married old Wiley so she could get out of her mama and daddy's house. Okay, Nellie. Because y'all know back in them days, the only way a girl was leaving her parents' house was by marriage or by burial. One or the other. So Nellie did what she had to do because she was ready to get the hell out of Possum Corner. I can't blame you, girl. Now, I'm going to tell you, Nellie wasn't one to put up with no mess, and she dropped Wiley like a bad habit not too long after getting settled in Natchez because, again, she just needed him to get out the door. She was all the way outside now, honey, so she went on ahead and got her a good old divorce. I mean, I guess I knew that, divorce was a thing, but I just didn't think it was a thing. But yeah, Nellie got a divorce. And so now she is a single woman in Natchez, Mississippi. But she's got to make a way for herself, right? She got to pay her way. So she gets her a job working in a saloon. A bar. And this bar was called Under the Hill. Now, in the 1920s, this wasn't one of those places where polite society did their thing. Oh, no. Under the Hill, in this area where Under the Hill was located, this is where the hustlers and the gamblers, if you can go and turn up and get you a little something to drink and dance you a jig in the town, I'm with all of that shit. Yes, honey. So Nellie is working in this bar, and even though it's a little rough around the edges or whatever, Nellie was fine with it. She was a little green from being country born and raised anyway, so working in that bar gave her like a master class on how the streets work. So picture it. Think Harpo's juke joint. They up in there drinking that rock good. Suge up there grinding and singing on the stage. Somebody cheating at the gambling table and a fight break out. You know what I'm saying? Here come the switchblade. Somebody trying to cut somebody to the motherfucking white meat. Rinse and repeat every day. That was Nellie's life. But I need you to understand, let's not get this twisted. Mississippi was a hard life for black people in 1930s. I mean, it's still part of the dirty South. We're talking systematic racism, economic hardship, and the Caucasic casserole peoples just stayed with their foot on the necks of the melanated peoples. You know what I'm saying? This is the height of Jim Crow, when a black person couldn't do much other than be a domestic, for the paper plate nation, or do some of that back-breaking work out there in the field. And add to that, so many racist ass laws with the Jim Crow shit. They tried to limit anything that would make our lives better. They had laws in Mississippi that said you couldn't sell this and that to black people or Indian people. And that might have been really enforced in other parts of Mississippi. But what I read about Natchez in particular, they weren't studying that shit. You know what I'm saying? If you had money, you could get whatever you like. I said you can get whatever you like. I told y'all it was going to be one of them kind of episodes. Just work with me, honey. Just work with me. Nellie, though, had a spirit of entrepreneurialism. She surveyed the scene around Natchez. And if you didn't know, it's on the water. It's a river town, kind of like New Orleans. And there were brothels and juke joints and whatever. But, the upper crust people of Natchez, they wanted all that shit out of there because Mississippi had laws on the books. We need to tighten up around here. And before long, Johnny Lawman came in and tried to clean up some places and whatnot. But I'm going to tell you, as long as there are humans on this planet, some of them going to want to drink a little bit and they're going to want to smoke a little bit and they're going to want to gamble a little bit and they're going to want to fuck a little bit. And mind you, at this point in time, Mississippi was a dry state, meaning there was not supposed to be no alcohol. This prohibition like a motherfucker in this Bible Belt state. But please understand, in Natchez, they was good and wet in more ways than one. So with liquor being illegal in Mississippi just by state law, Nellie was breaking the law just by working at this bar. And she was arrested in 1928 for illegal bootlegging. She paid a fine of $100 and she did 30 days at the county jail, did her time, and then she went right on back to work as soon as her feet touched ground. But by this time, the laws and the cops, they were getting together and they were really running these saloons and these brothels out of town. So it kind of on the surface looked like Natchez was cleaning up its dens of iniquities. You know what I'm saying? But y'all know looks can be so deceiving. And all that was really going on was creating a void for somebody else to fill, because again, humans like to drink and humans like to fuck. I'm just saying. Well, Nellie latched on to that last one and she kind of ran with it, because the bar that she was working at eventually got shut down. These things happen. But Nellie needed cash and she didn't want to be nobody's maid or no shit like that. She wanted to be her own boss and she wanted to live a good life. But it was unheard of for a colored woman in Mississippi in the 1930s to really own property or run a business. But guess what? That is exactly what Miss Nellie did, honey. Oh, yes, baby. Understand with my people, if there is a will, there is a way. And Miss Nellie had the will. She was going to do her own thing. And it started with a house at 416 North Rankin Street. Nellie rolled up on there and seen a for sale sign. This house had 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. It was in downtown Natchez, and the street, North Rankin, it was a little rough around the edges, you know what I'm saying? Even though it was in almost on the square, it was a little rough and shit went down, but Nellie didn't give a fuck about none of that. She decided that she was going to open up a brothel. But you see, here's the thing. She couldn't put that shit down on paper, because just like in 2025, in the 30s, 1930 to be exact, prostitution was illegal. Now, of course, people, look the other way a lot, wink, wink, that whole humans like to fuck type of situation. So they would look past a lot of things. But again, we dealing with a black woman in the 1930s. Oh, no, they wasn't studying that shit. So Nellie had to be smart. And Nellie was a very smart and intelligent woman. So Nellie figured out a loophole to get around this little prostitution ain't legal type of situation. She decided that she was going to put on her business license that she was operating a boarding house. Ooh, honey, genius, Miss Nellie. Blacks could run a boarding house without causing too much heartburn, because the Negroes needed to have someplace to stay. So Negroes provided housing to other Negroes, just fine. Or even Negroes providing housing to non-Negro people, that was fine. Housing, that was, okay. The powers that be would look past that. And so for Nellie, she said that her business would be to rent out rooms, but only to women. Okay, Nellie, that's where that slick shit come in, right? And that's what those women did. They actually rented a room from Nellie. She had a room rate that they had to pay her, whether it was, I don't know, it didn't really go into detail, so whether it was daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. If you want to stay here, if you want to work in Nellie's, you got to pay me. And then, of course, Nellie also took half of whatever they made. Ooh, the pimping of it all. I ain't mad at you, baby. But here's the thing. Nellie opened up a whole house right on Front Street with the proper paperwork. Yes, Miss Nellie, she paid her business fees and her taxes on time before time, like a real boss is supposed to. But I need y'all to understand that Miss Nellie Jackson, again, is a single black woman running a whole house. But Nellie knew in order for her to be successful, she needed to set her some ground rules. And Nellie's rules were actually pretty simple. Rule number 1, no druggies or drunk asses. And that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Nellie didn't need no unnecessary heat from the popo. So keeping motherfuckers whose minds were altered off of that goddamn rock good, keeping them out her place of business, that was good for business. Because, Nellie did offer drinks or whatever for a little small fee if they needed a little liquid courage to put their best foot forward. If you know what I mean. Oh my God. We need to laugh. It's too much going on in the world. Okay, so Nellie's second rule was nobody could come in her house after midnight unless they were VIPs. Oh yes, honey, Miss Nellie closed down shop at 12 o'clock midnight on the dot. If your ass wasn't already between some thighs, you was just shit out of luck. Now, the VIPs though, the ones that either pay like they weigh or they some politicians or some entertainers or law enforcement, some of them type of peoples, they could get some special privileges. She even had a private entrance for them to come in so they didn't have to mingle with the regular peoples or be seen by prying eyes. Yeah, Miss Nellie would shut down her living room to all the brokies, put them in the kitchen because, she wasn't turning down no money. It was enough pussy to go around for everything. She was just gonna make the living room a VIP area for her bigwigs, you know what I'm saying? But the boys, they didn't care as long as they was able to do their thing before they had to do their thing. Everything was all right. Well, the next rule is probably gonna be a little surprising. The third rule was no black men. Now, you might have clutched your pearls just a little bit on that one, didn't you? Well, think about it now. It's 1930, and Nellie's pink taco stand ain't even supposed to be. And black men fucking white women in 1930? Oh, hell to the no. Man, had word got out that a Mandingo was slanging Ding-a-ling and Delilah, they would have strung all their asses up. So no nookie for the niggas at Nellie's. I'm sorry. I am trying. I had fun with this episode. I hope y'all are enjoying it. Anyway, and the last, not necessarily a rule, but just what you could expect at Nellie's, and that was Nellie promised discretion. If she ever saw you on the street, unless you spoke to her first, she acted like she didn't know you, like she didn't know that you was a regular at the Pussy Plantation. But oh baby, Miss Nellie was not crazy or ignorant by a long shot, honey. She knew she needed to protect herself, and every motherfucker that came across her threshold, their name was wrote down in Nellie's little book. Nellie's black book was packed with the who's who of Hoville. Because everybody went to Nellie's. And why? Because Nellie had a stable of beautiful women, they say. Oh, baby, they was gorgeous. And here's the thing. Nellie didn't have to advertise or put out a help wanted sign. Honey. Miss Nellie had them hoes flocking to her like Uncle Clifford. Whatever flavor you wanted, Nellie had a girl, foreign or domestic, honey. Now I'm gonna tell you, Nellie's was not the only house of hot pockets in town. There were plenty to choose from, but they say Nellie put that oomph on it. Her shit was a step above. Call it the Platinum Pussy Palace, if you will. Nellie had the baddest bitches in town. They swag was top notch. They skin was supple. Whoa, shit, it's soft. Okay, ain't no bullet holes and stab wounds and cigarette burns on them hoes. Oh, no. So you get the Nellie's, and how it went down was you came in through the back door. Don't come through my front door. You come in through the back door. Nellie greet you. She take you through the kitchen, offer you something to drink if you're a little parched or whatever. And then she take you to the living room with the nice little furniture, little music playing in the background or whatever. The Johns would get comfortable, and after a minute or two, here come Nellie's angels. Oh shit, they sashay that ass in and peacock around the room or whatever, and then the men would choose which flavor they wanted. Pretty damn simple, huh? And then Nellie would bring in the menu board, and they would decide what services would be rendered. Nellie would then ring up a motherfucker for their pussy purchase, and then they would be off to the champagne room, because at Nellie's, there was a whole lot of sex in the champagne room. After about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on what was on the menu, Nellie would go and discreetly knock on the door, and her girl would either say, "We finishing up, Miss Nellie," or she would say, "He want to run it back," at which point Miss Nellie would collect any additional fees that would due. Pimpalicious player from Possum Corner. I ain't mad at you, Miss Nellie. Get your ears and dividends, girl. Yes, baby. I told y'all we needed to laugh, and god damn it, we could do some mayhem and we could have some mirth at the same damn time. Now I'm gonna tell you what I thought was funny was I found out that there was a military base called Camp Van Dorn. It was in Upper Mississippi. It was about an hour away from Natchez. Baby, the military used to bust them soldiers from Camp Van Dorn down to Natchez on the weekends so the men could let off a little steam. They say the military men was standing at attention too deep in line trying to get into Nellie's. Nellie, get your coin, ma'am. Yes, I keep telling y'all, pussy sell when cotton and corn don't, baby. Motherfucker ain't got no money to pay their rent. They got some money to get some cootie cat. Baby. Okay, I'm gonna be serious. Okay, so understand, it did not take long for people to find out that there was a top-notch coochie dispensary on the square, and baby, that shit was a bop, honey. Nellie was sitting pretty pretty, though. For the first 20 years, did you hear me, church? I said 20 years from 1930 till around 1950, Nellie didn't have no problems. But then in the 50s, shit started to change. And if you think about what was going on in the world, this is right around the same time as black people starting to stand up for their rights, fighting for their rights, wanting to be equal. You understand? Civil rights ringing a bell, anybody? And while Nellie, who really didn't have any issues with her den of pussification, started to have 99 problems, and the law was the main one. Starting in 1953, Nellie's House of Happy Endings is ordered shut down by court order. Yes, honey. A Mississippi court has said, Nellie, you can't sell no more pussy on the square. And Miss Nellie was like, shitting me? I ain't studying them hoes. I got bills to pay. These motherfuckers are still in the market for breasts and thighs, and I am Colonel Sanders, if you will. Nellie said, if they paying, I'm staying. And that's exactly what the fuck she did. She wasn't studying no piece of paper telling her to close her doors. No. Them doors stayed open. And for a while, it was all right. But then June 15th, 1954, the cops ran up in Nellie's place and told everybody to pull out later. They told Nellie that she was violating that court order to stop selling coochie. So they yoked up Nellie and took her ass to jail yet again. And this time they hit her with a $1,000 fine and 6 months to do in the county jail. She paid them their little money. What you want that? Pennies in a sack, ones, 10s, 20s, however you want it, bitch, I got it. And she didn't do the full 6 months. They say she got out for good behavior. That's good. Don't be making Miss Nellie do a whole 6 months in jail. But I need you to understand, New Orleans Nation, that from this point on, Nellie stayed in and out of the county jail. And she was also trying to fight each and every one of these charges that they would throw at her. Come to find out, Mississippi had this thing where you could challenge a ruling from a lower court at the Mississippi Supreme Court. And Nellie Jackson's name stayed on the docket. And they stayed denying Nellie every single time. Nellie be like, they on this bullshit. They charging me with running a house of ill repute or prostitution or whatever the charge may be. Y'all know what I'm doing. Everybody else doing it. Why y'all fucking with me? Can y'all please take this off my record? And the Supreme Court was like, nope, that shit stands. Next. Again, denying Miss Nellie every single time. And I need you to also understand that this shit wasn't free. Nellie had to pay court costs, filing fees, all of that shit. And also understand selling pussy was profitable because Miss Nellie was getting fined a rack every time she got popped at the local level, plus the fees at the local level. And then when she appealed her shit, she was paying more fees on top of that. And mother did not bat an eyelash. Real boss shit, but also real getting on my nerves shit, because why y'all fucking with me? We fucking with you because black people want rights. And since you are black, yeah, you selling pussy and you are providing a valuable service to the county. But again, there's that whole you're black thing. Well, it kind of was a little quiet from, like I said, mid-1954 until June 1st, 1957. And that's when some shit went down at Nellie's. See, what had happened was there was this chick named Estelle Hurst, and she was from Cleveland, Texas. You see, Estelle rolled in the Natchez with 2 white men, one of which was supposedly her common-law husband, cracker named Edward Seabaugh. Now, everybody know that if you wanted a little funky monkey, you could go to Nellie's. Well, Miss Nellie didn't just supply women. She also supplied the room if you already had what you needed to get your rocks off. So Estelle, her husband, and another man named James Guy, they show up at Nellie's June 1st, 1957. Husband Edward, he dip off, and James and Estelle, they go and get a room for Nellie, purchasing it for an hour. Baby, it don't take all day to do nothing, you hear? All I need is 60 minutes, baby, maybe less. Oh my God. I got to get through this episode. Okay. Keep it together, Nate. Keep it together. All right. So they got the room for an hour. And after an hour, as usual, Miss Nellie come do her little discreet knock on the door. Everything all right enough. She don't hear nothing. She knock one more time. Still don't hear nothing. So Nellie like, either somebody gonna run me some more change or y'all gonna have to head on up out of here. But again, ain't nobody saying nothing. So Nellie do what she do and she go right on up in the room. And first thing she see is that the window is open and dude is gone. But Estelle is still here. Ooh, but honey, instead of a happy ending, Estelle has ended up with her throat cut from ear to ear. This nigga done sent Estelle to the for room at Miss Nellie's house. Oh, Lord. Well, there were 2 other girls, actual Nellie's girls, at the house, and they all called the police or whatever. The cops come, they send Estelle to the morgue, and then they charge Nellie with operating a house of assignation. That's a $50 word, meaning she was running a house of hoes. They ran up on the dude, James, wandering around the streets of Natchez. When they ran up on him, why they found the bloody knife still on him? Dumbass much? They snatched his ass up, brought him in for questioning. Come to find out, Estelle had told James that yesterday's price of $3 is not today's price, which is $5 for that ass. James wasn't trying to hear none of that shit, and he put that blade on it still. I'm sorry, it ain't fun. I'm trying. At this point, they charged James' ass with murder. The cops go and grab up Edward, and they charge him with a felony for transporting a woman for interstate commerce for immoral purposes. Okay, that's kind of like what Diddy going through right now. Interstate trafficking? Okay, Estelle's husband, Edward, you actually was the pimping, and you had brought her to Natchez to make y'all a little piece of extra money. Okay, that shit's illegal then. It's still illegal now. Well, Nellie paid her bill, and she was back at the house slanging ass and titties later on that day. Well, she still had to go to court about that little business because white women just can't be getting killed all up in your house of ill repute, ma'am. You got to go answer to some people about that shit. And so Nellie went to court about that little situation on June 20th, 1957, which was only a couple of weeks later, right? That's like 19 days later. Well, they convicted Nellie of operating a house of ill repute. And the judge was like, look, we done already told you once that we is not with this bullshit, and we didn't want to have no more words with you no more. We told you to shut them motherfucking doors, and you just refused to cooperate. So this is what we're going to do to you. We're going to give you another $1,000 fine, and we're going to give you 6 months in jail. But this time, you're going to do all 6 to the door. 10 toes down. That's exactly what the fuck Nellie did. She did all 6 months of her time. But I also want you to know and understand that Miss Nellie's house of throw that ass did not shut down while Nellie was in the pen. Oh, no. Miss Nellie ran her shit from a jail cell. I'm talking about, bitch better have my motherfucking money. And they did. Honey, Miss Nellie's commissary was lovely. She did not skip a beat. Now that's what you call good pussy management. I'm just saying, there's some of y'all got there. You know what? That's not even what this podcast is about today. Moving on. Moving on. All right. So now we're moving into the 60s. And y'all know civil rights is in full swing now. And Nellie is still in the deep south running a whole house catering to white dicks. Well, y'all know Miss Nellie had all kind of white motherfuckers coming up in her little hoe house. They was white, of course, but they was soldiers. They was all kind of professions, drunks, married men, single men, you name it, they was up in there. Well, some of her regular customers were Klansmen. Yeah. They hate black people, but they spend money in a brothel run by a black woman. Go figure. And they was out here actively fucking up black people left, right, and sideways. And I was proud of they fuckery and shit. Like, niggas was coming up missing because the KKK was out here flexing in them Natchez streets. Shit was going down. And there was a constant threat of death and destruction all over the South, which included Natchez from these crazy ass KKK motherfuckers, right? But these same Klansmen would come up in Nellie's house of coochie with all of this hate and talking about the shit that they doing. And y'all know, when the blood leave the big head and rushes to the little head, men turn into some real chatty Cathys. So they would be in there telling Nellie's girls all the tea. Cause good pussy will make a motherfucker tell you their deepest, darkest secrets. And if you didn't know that, you either ain't got that clap back or you ain't never had none of that clap back. I'm just saying, they made a movie about it. Y'all know.
I have got a girl whose pussy is so good, if you threw it up in the air, it would turn into sunshine.
Hello, it's Daddy. Hey, darling, put Mommy on the phone. Yeah, Barbara, it's Richie. Yeah, look, I ain't never coming home no more. Take it easy.
My favorite movie in the whole world. I love me some Harlem Nights. That pussy like sunshine, and Miss Nellie had them on deck, baby. She had good sunshine pussy on tap. Well, anyway, the whole purpose of that is, again, we've got these women who are landing with these Klansmen, and they are spilling their guts about all types of activities that the Klan is planning to fuck up black people. And so, of course, as soon as these motherfuckers leave, the girls, they go tell Nellie exactly what these men have told them, that they're going to do this and they're going to do that and blah, 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 blah. Well, Miss Nellie is taking their money and then dropping a dime on their ass trying to help her people out. Yeah, she might not have been able to let Black Dick come up in there and do what it do, but she could make sure to save a Black Dick from getting lynched. You know what I'm saying? Miss Nellie was an informant for the FBI, y'all. Yes. Now, this was on the show enough down low hush hush now, because if them racist white Klansmen of Mississippi had any clue Miss Nellie was a snitch to the feds, oh, they'd have fucked her all the way up. But you know, just like everything else, Nellie had that shit on lock on how to get a motherfucker in her house without nobody knowing. You know what it is. Don't let the left hand know what the right hand doing. They would roll up in there like a VIP customer in the wee hours of the night, and Nellie would tell them what her girls had told her. And so in her own way, Miss Nellie was trying to save her fellow melanateds from the KKK doing KKK shit. And it worked, because of course they were not able to thwart 100% of shit that the Klan had planned, but a lot of stuff that they had in motion, they were able to at least slow that shit down, throw a monkey wrench in the plan, all because Miss Nellie was able to drop a dime. For that, Miss Nellie, kudos to you, girlfriend. Now, I'm gonna also tell y'all that Miss Nellie did a lot to bring goodwill to her establishment. Oh yes, come to find out, Miss Nellie would be driving the nuns that at the local convent. She would drive them around to do their shopping, because you know they weren't driving. Miss Nellie was like, don't worry about it, I got y'all. And ain't that about a trip? The nuns and the hoe hoppers all chilling together and whatnot. But you know what? Jesus hung out with the hoes and the pimps. They was just keeping tradition alive. I'm just saying. Now, Miss Nellie also was one that would bail out freedom fighters. If they got fucked up in Mississippi, fucking around trying to register people to vote or whatever the case may be, Miss Nellie could be counted on to put that money up to bail them out. Sight unseen, I don't need to know y'all. Y'all fighting for the cause. Y'all need some bail money. Boom, money is paid. But you would think that in and of itself would be enough to have local law enforcement lay hands and shut Miss Nellie all the way down permanently, but they didn't. And that's probably because Miss Nellie was like the Red Cross of Natchez. If something bad happened to a family or whatever, it would be Nellie that would make them whole again. That's goodwill that money can't buy. I'm just saying. It can buy it, but I'm just saying, when you know that this is our savior over here, if some shit go wrong, she gonna make us right, you can't just be fucking with her all willy-nilly. And Miss Nellie, oh, she loved the kids. There were no kids that were gonna go hungry or miss Christmas as long as Miss Nellie was around. Oh, no. And Thanksgiving, y'all thought Nino Brown was doing something out there with them turkey dinners. Baby, Miss Nellie was giving out turkeys. You get a turkey. You get a turkey. Baby, Miss Nellie gave and gave and gave and gave. And just by word of mouth, because understand, this is all pre-internet, this might even been pre-phone book. You know what I'm saying? Miss Nellie's is kind of a household name in certain circles. Like, people all over the world knew about Nellie's. And it might have been because Nellie sold t-shirts that said, follow me to Nellie's. Again, this is a whole ass hoe house. Ma'am, you is not supposed to be advertising t-shirts. How everybody got a goddamn follow me to Nellie's t-shirt on, y'all? I can't. I read this one anecdotal story that was told by a cop in an interview. And the cop says that she was on patrol and she saw a car with out-of-state tags just going around in circles. It was clear that this person was lost, right? So she flags the car down and the young white man behind the wheel is looking stressed than a motherfucker. And so the cop's like, hey, can I help you out? What's up, bro? You lost? And so then this motherfucker say, well, yes, I am lost and I need directions, but I can't ask you because you the law. And so the cop said she looked at him with a straight face and was like, oh, you trying to get to Nellie's? And gave him directions on how to get there. Tell me that ain't gangster. You running an illegal house of prostitution and the local cops is out here acting like MapQuest for your shit? Come on, man. Pimping, audacious, diabolical. That's crazy as fuck now. And this is going on for decades and decades. We have now moved through the 70s and the 80s, and it is now 1990. Miss Nellie is going on 87 years old and still got women throwing that ass in a circle for her. Man, come on now. This woman, 87 years old, born in 1902, she has seen it all. She has seen how people go from chattel to being free at last to just in everything in between. And she been selling pussy through it all. Girl, I am not mad with you, Miss Nellie. And then on July 5th, 1990. Did you hear me, Noah Nation? I said July 5th. 1990. One hating ass customer brought all this shit to a screeching halt. This particular day, July 5th, a customer named Daniel Eric Breeziel, 20-year-old punk, he came to Nellie's to get a little something strange for a piece of change, and Miss Nellie wouldn't let him in because he was drunk. Y'all know that's a violation of Miss Nellie's rules. She been running this whole house for more than 60 years. The rules is the rules is the rules. So she throw this motherfucker out. Well, Buddy is not pleased with this shit, and he tell Miss Nellie, I'ma go, but I'ma be back and I'ma burn this motherfucker down. Daniel leaves. He indeed leaves, but he indeed does come back with a motherfucking gas can around 5 o'clock in the morning. This man pours gasoline all over the front porch of Nellie's house. He kicks in the door. Now, Nellie's bedroom is right in the front. He kick in the door. He right at Nellie's bedroom. He go in her room, douse her with gas too. But he just throwing gas, just shaking the can. And his dumb ass get gas on himself too. This rocket scientist lights a match, and him, Nellie, and the room go boom, just everything up in flames. They say the force of the whoosh was so great that it blew this funky bastard across the street. Serve your monkey ass right. Play stupid games, win stupid prize. Well, at the particular time, Nellie had 5 girls working in the house, but none of these girls were hurt. But Miss Nellie, ooh, honey, they rushed Miss Nellie to the hospital, and it ain't looking good, y'all. Miss Nellie is burned with first, second, and 3rd-degree burns all over her body entirely. I'm talking 100% crispity crunchity. A couple of days later, Miss Nellie just succumbed to her injuries. It was just too much. It was too much. And that is such an, it's not even anticlimactic, because that's a hell of a way to go. I mean, she set the world on fire and a motherfucker set her on fire going out the world. But I'm just saying, for a woman who ran a hoe house for 60 years, like, she should have died an old woman in her bed. I'm thinking of Rose in the Titanic. Like, she should have went out like that. Like, ain't no way a punk ass 20-year-old supposed to set this old ass woman on fire because she wouldn't let him buy no pussy. Like, the hate of it all. Oh, and his ass died too. Crispity crunchity motherfucker. He gone too. And I mean, and that day, July 5th, that was the last day of Nellie's hoe house. Nellie was gone. She was no longer there to run it. And so rather than some grand send off, you know what I'm saying? The ho-ho convention or whatever, coming into town and they second line and down Main Street, big ass parade for the retirement of Miss Nellie's G-strings or whatever the case may be. All of that. I mean, there should have been some kind of way to commemorate Miss Nellie getting out the game. But instead, she just dies so unexpectedly, so violently. She lived through civil rights and the Ku Klux Klan, all of that shit, made it to the 90s, and a punk ass motherfucker took her out the game. That's why I say, honey, watch them motherfucking haters. Ooh, I know they got a job to do too, but ooh. And that, New Orleans Nation, was the story of Miss Nellie Jackson, aka the Natchez Madam. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all, Miss Nellie walked so that the girls at the paint could run. There would be no Uncle Clifford without Miss Nellie Jackson. Okay, I'm being funny. I've been trying to keep it together. But in all seriousness now, because Miss Nellie was not going to be denied her God-given right to sell that funky monkey, the girls in the valley did indeed have the opportunity to get naked. Oh yes, Miss Nellie ran a criminal enterprise. If she were alive today, she might be a co-defendant with Diddy. Racketeering and shit. Prostitution of it all. Oh yes. And while she might have been a criminal, in the eyes of the laws on the books, I think that she was a maverick. A show-enough boss bitch who was not about to settle for what the cultural norms of the times said that she had to go through and endure. I mean, because think about it. A woman, a black woman, ran this brothel by herself for more than 60 years. She opened the doors to the best little whorehouse in Mississippi at a time when black women were considered lesser than everybody else. Everybody. I can't imagine all of the challenges that she faced. She worked and walked a fine line, because if any member of the Salt Gang had decided to cut her water off because she was being an uppity Negro with aspirations of greatness, nobody would have cared. You know what I'm saying? She dealt with horny racists racist men on a regular because her entire clientele was white men. White men. Every day, all day. White dick in and out your goddamn house. Think of the code switch of it all. I can't even imagine. And again, prostitution was illegal. Miss Nellie ran her business on Front Street. Everybody knew about Miss Nellie's. It's some people that can't run a candy store out their apartment without getting an eviction because you violating your lease. This woman is selling pussy wholesale and retail. Man, come on now. That is not easy. And we are talking 1930 to 1990. 60 years of selling pussy on Front Street. That's not an easy feat. If you think it is, go ahead, hang your shingle out. Tell me how that worked out for you. Baby, she did it for more than 60 years and didn't hide it. Everybody knew Miss Nellie was slanging pussy. God damn it, Miss Nellie. That's gangster, that's diabolical, and it's for sure audacious, which is all you need to be on Melanin Mayhem podcast, to be doing some audacious ass shit out here in these goddamn streets. I am here to tell y'all that there was a black woman who sold top-notch coochie to white men all over Mississippi, and she got away with it. Like, that's amazing. And I just gotta think. Now, living good, I mean, I couldn't find no health problems or nothing like that. By now, of course, 2025, Miss Nellie probably would have joined the ancestors anyway, but just think how much longer she could have gone had it not been for that punk ass Daniel. Like, I am in awe. I am in awe because, again, she did this all by herself. There was never any mention of security or a mister. This is during a time when women couldn't do anything without a man's permission or help. This woman single-handedly ran a whole house, baby, and kept it going. I'm in awe. I love it. And it's funny because history whitewashes itself as time goes on. If you were to Google Nellie Jackson today, you are going to see a bunch of flowery quotes on how everybody loved Nellie, how nothing ever went down ever at all at this brothel. And all of that is a lie. That's a whole ass lie, because you got to go dig a little deeper. You got to go into the archives of some old Mississippi newspapers and find some old court documents in order to find the truth, to let you know that from 1950s to mid-1960s, they was fucking with Nellie left, right, and sideways. They stayed in her pockets, and she didn't bat an eye. Miss Nellie stood up to the pressure and was like, "You can't break me. How much you want? I got it. How much you need? I got it. You can't find me enough. I got it. Because pussy sell when cotton and corn don't." I'm put that on a t-shirt next. Oh my God. I'm just saying, I love this for us. I mean, she was a black woman in the 1930s that made the system work for her. Nobody gave her anything. And just as it is now, she had to be 10 times smarter, 10 times more cunning, 10 times craftier than the other citizens of Natchez. She had to keep her bank right because she stayed being sent to jail and getting fined as much as they legally and illegally could. And I'm sure she also had to pay bribes to the local Barney Fifes to keep them looking the other way. And she did that shit. 10 toes down, it's not a problem. How much you need? Now, we all know that prostitution is the oldest profession out there, and Miss Nellie found a way to make prostitution set her free. And again, if that punk ass Daniel hadn't been butthurt because she wouldn't let him buy no pussy, Miss Nellie might still be sitting up in the window of her escort agency today with her 2 little dogs. I love it. Okay, I'm done. We gotta go. All right, New One Nation, it's your turn to talk now. Hit me up on all the socials. Y'all know it's Melanin Mayhem Podcast or Melanin Mayhem PC. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on X. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. Email is more of your ministry. You can hit me up at melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to go to the Melanin Mayhem website to get your official merch. It's www.melaninmayhempodcast.com. Ready for you with all the cute little t-shirts. All right, before we go, we have to do this week's New One Nation shout out, and this week it goes to Badussy Crew, who titled their review Divine. Ooh, I love it. They went on to say, "I am in love with this podcast. Renee is nothing short of a storytelling genius." Ooh, thank you, boo. And that name Badussy Crew, ooh, it's giving me life, honey. And this was perfect pick for this particular episode, which is one of the reasons why I chose it, But Badusi, whatever. Okay, I'm getting up out of here. Thank you for listening to me, Badusi crew, and thank you for your kind words. I am so glad that you like the way I do what I do. And if you keep listening, I promise you I'm going to keep spilling the tea on these mayhem makers. That's all I got for this week, y'all. Next week, we're going to be back to our regular, kill 'em up, murder, kill, drill, all of that shit. But I just wanted to give us something a little bit lighter this week. But until next week, when we get back together, let me go ahead and get in this lab and chop and screw this thing up. I'll be back in 7 whole days. But until then, y'all know the drill. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay vigilant. And remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. It's one love, New Orleans Nation, and the country girl is out of here.
Woo-wee, Nana, you did that.